Parliament in the past year dominated media conversations for both the good and bad. The House personified the statement coming events cast their shadows. The first session of the highly anticipated near-hung Parliament began and ended in a manner that many deem a blow to Ghana's democracy. The election of Speaker Bagbin a year ago witnessed, amongst other things, snatching of ballot papers, kicking of ballot booths, and near fisticuffs between the minority and majority in Parliament. Journalists in the House watched in disbelief as situations unfolded.
There's a real fight. There's a real fight. This is unsightly. MPs, fully grown members of Parliament, kicking ballot boxes, pushing down voting booths because they insist this is hooliganism on display.
This, for many, was a representation of the many electoral offences witnessed during elections in Ghana. A key talking point was the snatching of ballot papers by MP for Tema West, Carlos Ahinkra.
Someone has taken the ballot papers. Someone has taken the uncounted ballot papers. Is that Carlos Ahinkra?
Yeah, Carlos.
That's Carlos Ahinkra, isn't it, of Tema West? And he's been attacked.
Some accused Majority Leader of Parliament Oseiche Mensah Bonsu of complicity, as events before the incident reveal an interaction between Carlos Ahinkra and himself. He has since refuted such claims.
I said he should move away from me.
That's what you told Carlos?
Yeah, he came to me and he said to me, "Leader," I'm quoting him, "Leader, and he and this is for our speaker Nana." I said, "Carlos, what do you mean? We finished voting. We are going to do the counting. Indeed, we have started counting. What do you mean?" At that time, I wanted to concentrate on the counting. I said, "Carlos, please move away from me, please." I was waving him aside. "Please move away from me." I don't know what spirit, affected him.
But Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak insists the events are convincing enough to believe Oseiche Mensah Bonsu instructed the MP.
Saw later the videos that showed clearly it was this same majority leader who sent Carlos. He was the one who sent Carlos. The videos were there. You saw him. He had to push somebody who was blocking their view, who was blocking Carlos' view, away. And then he snatched the papers. We had to chase him to pick it. Did that video point to you or suggest to you in any way that he was discouraging Carlos? And if he was truly discouraging Carlos and he saw Carlos moving towards that place, what did he do?
An attempt by the military to calm tensions has been frowned upon by a number of persons, saying it was an illegal invasion. But the scars of the night linger on, as plans to rewrite the wrongs have not materialized. A motion to investigate events of the night, though admitted, is yet to be debated and decided upon. For Muntaka Mubarak, this is a major blow to the 8th Parliament.
This particular act was almost an overthrow of our democracy that day. Because remember that moment, at that time, we didn't have presidency, we didn't have an executive because their tenure has elapsed, and all we had was Parliament, and then it was invaded by military and police personnel. And this has not been investigated. I call it a big scar on our conscience if we continue to allow it to stay.
The idea of a near-hung Parliament was exciting for many, as they thought that was the key to correcting the perception of Ghana's Parliament being a rubber stamp. Events of the vetting of the President's appointees lent credence to this belief. The grilling of the ministers was reference point in the early days to prove this point, but that was tainted by the vote on their candidature, as some NDC members had concerns with why some appointees, including Kojo Oppong Nkrumah and Mavis Hawa-Kumsen, were approved. The majority has maintained that it took extra effort to get that done.
It was difficult. Some of the ministers, I don't want to put out identities, but they had, it was difficult selling them, so to speak. And the people were not willing to buy into our call. But we kept knocking at the doors. We identified and had to do target, lobbying, and eventually it paid off. I'm very proud, particularly about the finance minister.
But Muntaka Mubarak, who led the probe against some of these nominees, says he was traumatized by the outcome of the votes, even though there was nothing he could do to ensure their rejection.
It was very traumatizing for me as a chief whip, because you see, one of the duties and functions of the chief whip is to make sure that he gets all his members to appreciate and understand a party position. And it was extremely difficult. There were regional cards that were being played. You know, the ministerial appointment came with some regions having only one minister. And you get your colleagues, members on that, on your side, from that region, clearly telling you that, look, how about this guy? It will be very difficult for me to vote for him, against him, because this is that in our region, is moderate, is that. So look, there's a party position. Then the person keeps quiet. You don't need an ending to tell that when you go to when the person goes into the ballot box, where it is only seen by God, you're able to predict how the person is going to vote.
The 8th Parliament witnessed attempts by individual MPs through private members' bills and motions to influence certain government policies. Key amongst them is the private members' motion to cause government to pay fees of tertiary students to relieve them of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. After fierce debates, the motion was shut down. The purchase of Sputnik V vaccines through a middleman by the health minister became a matter of bipartisan probe through a private member's motion. The committee found the minister wanting for not seeking parliamentary approval and called for a refund of the monies that were paid. In the aftermath of the probe, the minister, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, lamented how the probe affected his image. Members in the minority and majority caucuses have all filed motions aimed at probing electoral violence and mode of recruitment into security agencies. In addition, private members' bills, such as that of the Anti-LGBTIQ+ Bill, Legal Profession Bill, and Citizenship Amendment Bill, are pending in the House. The minority say some of these will be their concern in the second session of the 8th Parliament.
I can bet you that all these motions are motions that we are going to. One, it has to do with the COVID expenditure, the disturbances in Techima, the disassembly election, the procurement of assets, and a lot of others. Because the budget was on, and we all know traditionally during budget process, it is very difficult to get other business going. So we got to understand that, look, let's deal with the budget. When we are done, we'll come back to this motion. So I'm sure that in our first meeting, these are some of the motions that we'll be pursuing very strong.
The Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has also filed several motions aimed at getting information on the cost of foreign travels of the President, with 137 MPs for the minority side and 138 for the majority side. Observers of the political space have always maintained the need for consensus building, but that seems not to be the case as both parties continue to boast of their numbers. The tango over the numbers is far from over. Currently, 16 of these seats are in contention in court. The minority is, however, threatening to challenge the second deputy speaker as they believe he is in contravention with the constitution per his relationship with the NPP side of the House.
1992 Constitution, if you look at Article 96B, it's very, very clear. It says that the two deputy speakers cannot come from the same party. He opted to do business with them. But over the 1 year, we have seen he attends caucus meetings with them. He does everything with them. We believe that it has gone beyond just doing business with them. He has joined them because he walks out of the chamber with them, even as deputy speaker. They are walking out. He walks out with them. They go to caucus meetings. He's with them. They are into shop. He's joined them. He's just not been doing business with them. He has joined them.
The e-levy remains a remnant of the first session and will have to be dealt with in the second session. It became the cause of the final bout in the House. For the minority, they will no longer compromise for the majority and have even vowed not to hold unofficial meetings with the majority leader. Meanwhile, the majority is willing to make things work between both sides.